All right, before we begin, let me give you some context to what I'm trying to do here. So you probably saw that a couple days ago I did like a 6-hour live stream with some friends. In case you haven't seen that, I'm gonna include the link in the description to the full VOD in case you have 6 hours to spare. But basically, ever since we did that, I've been sort of playing OpenTTD for fun on my own, off camera. And I figured, why don't we do like a short series? Because it's been many years since I've done like a full episodic series on my channel. So here's what I'm thinking. We're gonna do a small map. In fact, let me show you. We're gonna do a 128 by 128 map with a low amount of towns, a very low amount of industries. And we're also gonna be starting in 2020, which is where maglev sort of kicks in. I didn't want to go through the entire flow of like going with the regular rail and then upgrading to monorail and then finally doing maglev. Basically, the ultimate goal of this series is to connect every single type of industry and every town that we get on this random seed. And yeah, try to like service every type of supply chain in the map. So that's sort of the goal of this series. I don't know how long it's gonna take. I think it's gonna be like maybe 10-ish episodes. I'm gonna try to keep them really short and maybe release them a couple times a week. So yeah, let's see what the seed looks like, shall we? All right, let's take a look at this seed. So interesting, this is gonna be a bit challenging. We have a cluster of industries right over here, which can be served by one main central station, ideally. We have a steel mill on this corner, a couple of industries over here. We have a power plant in the forest, refinery, which is next to the water. That's pretty good. And we have a factory here plus 2 cities. This is just going to be a massive thing, I'm pretty sure. You know what? I kind of like the seed. It provides some challenging terrain here in the middle that we'll have to, bridge in between these two areas. I think that would be an interesting add-on. And then we can, yeah, we're definitely going to have like a main line sort of going this way, and then another main line over here, and then some kind of connection in between to make everything sort of work. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. So, Nardwood. Let's see. Is there a cool place to build an HQ? I think I want to put my HQ right here on this like tiny peninsula. I usually put like in between, like in a main city, but as the city grows, you just can't see your HQ anymore. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it right there. Nardwood Transport. Just not a very good name. Let's call it Nardwood Express. Sure, that's the name of our company. Let's change this to yellow. That's usually the color that I play with. No particular reason. I just like the contrast between the background and the thing. And the very first thing that we need to do is set up some buses and start making some money. Now, on the right side, because I'm playing single player, I can actually speed things up, like basically increase the speed of the simulation. So that will make it so I can generate money faster and we don't have to just wait too much for things to take place. All right, let's put down a stop here and another one here. This will probably be enough for now. I definitely want to add a few more roads back here that ideally we can basically have a bit of a loop going around. That way our buses don't have to drive too far out of the way. Local authority already hates me. That's good to know. Let's place a road depot over here. And by the way, if you never played this game, I'll explain a little bit in just a second, but it's pretty straightforward. All you have to do is move cargo from one place to another. And I'm using these transparency controls to like hide the buildings. So the first thing we're gonna do is put a couple of buses running on this line. So I'm usually buying like the super expensive buses. We really don't need to worry about not spending all of our money because it's relatively easy to get the money back. And I usually like the first road vehicle that I create whenever I do like multiple ones, I try to like skip the first order. That way when I start them all like that, they just go to different stations, and that way they spread out a little bit more, even though eventually over time they might get, one after the other and then separate again as they go into the depot for maintenance and things like that. But, just to begin with, by the time this second bus reaches here, there's already passengers waiting and vice versa for this other station. You can see how popular these two stations are. All right, so that's the first of, I mean, I think I'm pretty much gonna set up bus routes on all of our 4 towns here. So OpenTTD is a pretty old game, actually. It's the open source version of Transport Tycoon, which is a game that came out in 1995. This is one of the first games I've ever played in my life, just so you know. And I think back in what, like 97, 96, 97 is when I started playing this game. It's an awesome game, honestly. And it was created by the original creator of Roller Coaster Tycoon and Locomotion, in case you've probably heard of those games. Pretty popular games. Locomotion maybe not so much, but Roller Coaster Tycoon, I would say is pretty popular. In any case, this is, yeah, like I was saying before, you just need to move cargo from one place to another. Now, you don't have to build buildings. Buildings get, well, the cities grow on their own the more you service them. So you can actually go into the city details and it actually tells you this town is not growing, because right now there's like nothing happening. So I'm gonna set up another 2 more buses that go from here and to here. And we're gonna clone the vehicle, which basically buys another copy of the vehicle and keeps the same orders. And this green button means start, but I can also like manually start from here and manually start from here. So that's the second city. And these two, because they're so close to one another, why don't we just have a bus route that connects the two instead of having 2 stops in the same city. Let's do that, just so that we do something a little bit more different. And the problem is, because of how the cities grow in this game, the algorithm sometimes is not very good. It kind of like goes randomly, and it creates situations like this one in Narwood, where like definitely if I have a bus route here, my buses need to go all the way to the dead end and then turn around, and there's no like roads that keep extending. So because there's a hill here, the city is having a lot of trouble expanding. And usually what I do is, you probably already saw me do that, but I try to like expand the road network for them as much as I can. Especially here, this place is like messed up. So let's see if we can terraform this without spending a lot of our money, even though I already spent a lot of our money on that. But we can do something like this. We do a little bit of terraforming there. That way we can connect these 2 roads. And at least that will give us a pretty good base for this city to grow. The optimum space in between roads is 2 tiles. So if you had like a 3 tile thing here, for example, this tile wouldn't be occupied by buildings. So I usually try to do something like that. And all we have to do next is put a road depot. Since we're having 2 towns here, I'm gonna put it right in the middle between the 2. Just so that if they need to get service, they could just go there and they don't have to go so much out of the way that it will be, counterproductive. All right, so now all of our cities have buses running, and let's take a look at our finances. So by default, you start with $200,000, which is actually a loan. You're actually in debt. And there's interest that you have to pay to this. By the way, I'm showing you the finances. They're not really critical to the game. I mean, they kind of are, because you need money to build things, but you don't really have, if you don't care about numbers, yeah, you don't have to worry about this. Making money in this game is so easy that it really doesn't matter all that much. And I try to repay my loan as soon as possible. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now and go full speed. That way we can make money a little bit faster. But if you look at the prices of the trains, right now we have the level 1 maglev. All these other ones are like monorail and just the regular electric trains and diesels. But this is the one we want to just to be able to begin things, to get things started. And the cost of that single locomotive is $166,000, which is a pretty steep price to pay. But let's see. I think before we finish this episode, this episode might be a little bit longer than others, but the first thing that I want to do is maybe connect this farm to this factory. And the way we're going to do that is as follows. We are going to try to not destroy the crops too much, because here's the thing. I've been told that if you, not I've been told, I think I've read that, or I don't know, maybe I dreamed this, but if you destroy too much of the crops, first of all, it's really expensive to build on the crops themselves, but apparently if you go too crazy and destroy many of them, the production of the farm kind of goes down. So we don't want that. So I might be able to just, yeah, do this instead. Let me terraform this real quick. Get rid of that. Put a road depot there, and we're gonna go to here. And I guess over here we can put a couple of these guys. I'm gonna hold click and control. Sorry, I'm gonna hold control and then click. And this opens this join station menu, which means that now if I put on these things, like basically if stations touch the tiles next to another station, it will just increase the size of the station. Even if they're different types, you can mix buses, trucks, even trains and airports. But because I'm placing another station on the opposite tile, there's a 1 tile gap, I need to tell it that I want to connect it to Natwood Central. And now I just do a regular click, and now I have 4 stops. I'm going kind of overkill here because I know eventually I'm going to have more trucks sort of getting into this area, but for the time being, I think this is okay. So we're gonna place one of these livestock trucks, and we're gonna go to here, do a full load, and then go to here, and it will automatically know to unload there. And we're gonna clone this vehicle. We're gonna start these 2, and then we're gonna go do the same, but for grain, except we have no money. So let's borrow some money. Okay, so you're gonna go to here, full load, and you're gonna go to here. And if we have enough money, we'll be cloning that again. All right, so now we're making even more money. And this farm is happy, and this factory is happy. But this this factory is also producing goods, except our city here is so small that it can't accept goods. So once the city starts growing, you see, oh, actually, it kind of accepts goods already. Interesting. Probably because of this building. Yeah, we're going to need to do some surgery in the city for that station to be able to fit in. In any case, I think this is a good stopping point for this episode. We've accomplished quite a bit. We have bus lines running on every major city, which means that these cities are going to start growing like crazy. Hopefully, these 2 are going to grow faster because these are the smallest ones and the ones that are adjacent to goods, which is also like a boost if you start delivering goods to cities. One quick thing that I wanted to remind you is if you want to play with this very save game or every other save game as episodes are released, you can download them from my Patreon page. So you can go to patreon.com/StrictDoser. There should be a link in the description anyways. But with your support, one of the perks that you can claim is access to this save game. So after every episode is released, not only you'll get early access to this videos, by the way, but you'll be able to play on this map if you think you can come up with a better layout than mine. In any case, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider giving this video a like. And if you are enjoying this series so far and you're new to my channel, you might also consider subscribing to be notified next time I post another one of these videos. But that's all I have to say for now. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you on episode number 2. Bye.